I am proud of you, my sons. Tonight, you have learned the final and greatest truth of the ninja. That ultimate mastery comes not of the body, but of the mind.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today I have the pleasure for my latest comic book review. This is my favorite comic book issue of 2020. It's close. There's been some great ones out there, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin issue 1 from IDW delivered everything that I wanted from this comic book and then some. The amount of action in this comic is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, there was a lot of anticipation. Not everyone got their comic books, and I think that is terrible because this is fantastic. This is going to sell like gangbusters. It's not often that you have a comic book with this much hype that actually absolutely delivers. And in my opinion, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, delivers on a very high level. If you were looking for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that has that was kind of felt like Escape from New York, but in a Blade Runner setting, but that is very much inspired by The Dark Knight Returns, you're going to love this because that's exactly what this comic book is. And I've seen a lot of criticism and complaints online that maybe it was borrowing too much inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns. I don't have a problem with it. A lot of movies, television, comic books, a lot of them borrow inspiration or downright will steal elements from other stories. It's not uncommon. You look over there at Ten of Swords. Some people could say it's Contest of Champions, but I would say it's Mortal Kombat, but in a comic book. These things happen. A lot of times things are looked at, and as an homage or a comic book inspired by The Dark Knight Returns, I think it does it fabulously. And I couldn't be more excited about this comic book. Obviously, this was a draft from 30 years ago by the original creators, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. Kevin Eastman was kind of going through his stuff. He found it, and he brought it out and said, hey, this is cool. This is an unpublished story. He brought in his writing partner, Tom Waltz, who he's been working with on TMNT at IDW since they started publishing there. Terrific writer. They've most everything they've done together has been terrific. But this is definitely the high point, in my opinion. And they went in there, and they took what was originally, I believe, a 20-page rough draft of a story, and now it's going to be it's 5 or 6 part miniseries. But they're double-sized issues. This is I believe it's a $9.99 comic book. A little bit too expensive. If I was going to knock it down to 4.5 stars, it would be because of the cover price. Although, when it's this good, as far as I'm concerned, it delivered. Even though it probably should have been bigger, but well worth the $9. You don't get comic books of this quality all that often. Peter Laird, Kevin Eastman, and Tom Waltz are joined by the Escorza brothers. They were not the original announced artists on this comic book, but they were brought in as shortly after they announced the comic. They said, yeah, there's been a change in our team, and I think it was better for it because they do a fantastic job in this comic. Now, before I get into all the details, why I love, and I do mean love, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin issue number 1. I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Today's the day to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Either way, I want to hear what you think about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin in the comment section. Did you love it as much as I did? Am I completely wrong? Is this a ripoff of The Dark Knight Returns? Do you like the mashup of Escape from New York, Blade Runner, The Dark Knight Returns, and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic? Did it work for you like it did for me? I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Now, let's get into the details. Let's get into the art. Now, I think a lot of people originally thought this would be illustrated by Kevin Eastman. He did the layouts, which, believe me, I've talked to some artists, and layouts can be like the trickiest part of illustrating a comic book. It will befuddle a lot of artists, and the layouts are a lot of fun. It's an action-heavy comic. Obviously, we've got the last Ronin here on the left. He is a weathered turtle, looking worse for wear, as he kind of is infiltrating a city. It's got a kind of like like I said, it feels like it's in Blade Runner. That's the setting of it. But the story kind of feels like it's Escape from New York. He's going in there because he's got a mission to do. But it also has a lot of, like I said, it feels like The Dark Knight Returns because there's a lot of inner monologue. And, obviously he's been through a lot of turmoil. It's like the last mission of his life. This last turtle, the last remaining turtle that there is. And he is the last turtle. And we definitely get that confirmation. I'll get that here to the end, at the end of the review. But there's some wonderful, wonderful illustrations. The setting's cool. This image here on the right is easily my favorite piece of art in this comic book. I just love all the action. You see the turtle flying over the robots, and he's taking them all down. And sometimes there's a pretty decent amount of detail. A lot of times when the action is fast and furious, we don't need the detail in the background. You're just distracting from the pure awesome turtleness that I'm seeing here on the pages. And I think the Escorza brothers absolutely knocked it out of the park here. And they did a great job. Would I prefer Eastman? Probably. Is this as good as, Dark Knight's Death Note? No, it's not as good as Dark Knight's Death Note. It's not as good as The Three Jokers. But this is a very well-illustrated comic book. Is it the best I've ever seen? No. But this is very high level. It's a lot of fun. And if you like action-oriented storytelling, this is the comic book for you. And the Escorza brothers are a huge part of it. Now, getting into the story, like I said, this is an action-heavy comic book. At the very opening scene, we see this turtle. He's infiltrating the city. And then once he kind of gets there, it's balls to the wall, all out action all the time. And it almost felt kind of like a video game. Like he starts out at the ground level and he's beating up like kind of the regular Foot Clan ninja robots, and he's beating the piss out of them. And every time he goes up a level, it's like there's a new boss, or there's like a better version of these robots, and he's taking them out and they're getting faster and more powerful. But he's a man on a mission. And he's inspired. He's got to do something. He's got to take down one last quest. We get some cool stuff. You even get some flying Mausers in there, obviously. And it's even mentioned that it's break out the Stockman tech, and that's from the bad guy, who we'll get to here in a second. But if you like action, this is the comic book for you. Like, I'm not sure how many pages this is. I think it's probably like 56 pages, and I bet 46 of it are just straight action. It is all action. And they do it. Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz do it right. They introduce a lot of information during the action. Like, it's not the Last Ronin sitting down, having a smoothie with an old friend explaining why he needed to go into the city. It's him going into the city, explaining why he's there, and talking about who he's going to kill. What his business is. And I love that about this comic. It felt very much old school as far as the storytelling. A welcome relief. I'm so bored of things like Tom King's Batman, even the recent Joker War, which is absolutely a slow burn. Everything's got to be so methodically paced. This is what I'm talking about. This is really metal, because this never stops. Once the beat hits, it just goes, and it's awesome. If you like action, this is good stuff. Now, as far as the villain, Oroku Hirota, he is the grandson of Shredder, and he's the bastard son of Kyra. And in the Last Ronin explains that as he's infiltrating it, and he's the so-called master of the Foot Clan. So we know this is a Foot Clan related villain. Makes sense. And as he goes along, you get more information about the character. And at one point, the Last Ronin's like pointing up at the security camera. He's like, "I know you're watching, and you better be scared, because I'm coming for you, sucker." He's like, "Oh my goodness!" It's a Ninja Turtle, and he kind of explains afterwards that I thought they all died 10 years ago. Obviously, he had that was it by his demand. He's like, "Go and kill the turtle." So apparently, 3 of them were taken out, but there's one left. There's one remaining survivor, and he's also got his mom frozen, kind of like Mr. Freeze. Well, I think she's frozen. She's preserved because he wants to save her. What does he say? No matter, you need not worry. As always, I have all under control. Nothing will ever threaten my ironclad rule over this city, this empire I have forged, and you will always be here to share my glory, to witness as I finish all that you could not, dearest mother. So he has mommy issues. Pretty good for a villain. He's obviously a sadistic bastard. He killed off the turtles. He's got a whole city enslaved by his robot Foot Clan. Although some of them might not be robots. Some of them might be cyborgs. It's certainly hinted at. I think it's absolutely confirmed. But he is pulling the strings. He's sending everybody after the Last Ronin. And it doesn't all work out well for the Last Ronin. Let's just say he doesn't complete his quest on the first issue. I do want to say that along the journey, the Last Ronin here, he's talking, and it's from the very beginning, he's kind of getting razzed. There's a lot of dialogue coming towards him, but when they do pan-outs, there's nobody with him. Clearly, it's his brother speaking to him. He still has a connection with him, and that's played out within the comic book, and I like that. That's something that probably needed to happen. You know, obviously, I believe we will get an explanation what happened to the other three turtles besides 10 years ago that the Shredder's grandson had him executed. There's going to be more to it. Specifically, I think we're going to learn more about Leonardo's blade here, which has obviously been fractured. But as he's going through, there is this dialogue, but you also see the turtles in the background. They're always in the shadows, and they're always messing with him and kind of egging him on and be like, hey, you got yourself in a pickle now, what you going to do? Kind of thing. And I like that they're always with him. He's not alone. He is alone physically, but emotionally, spiritually, he's not alone. His brothers are still with him. After he fails, and he does fail, this is a spoiler review, he goes back and he's a mess. He's all bloodied up, and he pulls out the weapons. You see the bow, the nunchucks, the sai, and the katana, and he lays out the face mask with the colors that he obviously has given up. He only wears black now, and I thought that was a really cool touch. So this is a lot of nonstop action, but you do get character moments, and I think that was important. Obviously, this is the first time we really read a Turtles book where the other turtles weren't alive. It's kind of a big deal. So I'm glad that he's paying homage to his brother. And there's another point before it's actually right after this, where he almost dies, and while he's on death's door, he's visiting his brothers. They're in their original underground lair, and they're kind of welcoming him back. And it feels like he's stepping into the afterlife, and he's going to be with his brothers again. I like that moment a lot. It was like very impactful. Like it was cool. Like his brothers are waiting for him in heaven. At least it's the way I took it. I don't know how everyone else took it. That's the way I took it. I thought that was really good. Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz absolutely destroyed this comic. Just as far as action, and you could never want more, but there's really good emotional stuff. And you do learn a lot about the Last Ronin. As like I said, there's a lot of inner dialogue. Not only is it explaining his purpose, but how he's feeling and stuff like that. It's really well done. But we do get the reveal who the Last Ronin is, and I'm going to spoil it here. Well, right now. At one point, because he's failed in his mission, the Last Ronin, who is Michelangelo, you can read it right there on the page. He takes Leonardo's blade and he's going to end his life because he's failed, in the ancient traditions of the ninja. But he's not able to do it because he's so damaged. This woman finds him, and when he wakes up, he thinks he's about to see his brother, that he was talking to him. April O'Neil showed up. She's very weathered, worn, and so we do see April O'Neil on the very last page, and she confirms when she says, "Who were you just talking to, Michelangelo?" Obviously, he was just talking to his brothers. And you can see he's very badly damaged, beat up, and he's going to get a second crack at taking out Shredder's son and the man that murdered his brothers. This is an awesome comic book. This is this is how you begin a story. This is like, boom, I'm in. I don't care how the quality of the next two. I have to see this through the end now because I'm emotionally invested in the story. I'm viscerally entertained by all the action. But what I'm saying here, I'm invested in the character. I want to see what happens to Mikey, what happened with April. I'm sure we're going to hear what happened to Casey Jones and some of the other stalwart characters that were aiding the Turtles along the way. This is really well done. Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz really upped their game. The Escorza brothers knocked it out of the park. This is a really good comic book. I don't know what else to say. This is, if you're going to charge me a lot of money for a comic book, it better be this good. The art better be killer. There better be some great character moments, and there better be a lot of really good action. This literally checks like every box I could ever want. Now, would I have preferred that the Last Ronin be Raphael because he's my favorite turtle? Absolutely. That's not the case. If it was going to be another turtle, it needed to be Mikey. And I guess a lot of people predicted it would be Michelangelo. You were all correct. It is Mikey. He is the Last Ronin, and he is going to avenge his brother's death. There's also a mention of Splinter, and he has he has a book from Splinter. That's what he has for me. He doesn't have his weapon, and I'm not sure if we'll get a reveal on that. Obviously, I believe Splinter's still dead in the TMNT comic and IDW. I'm not sure if that'll be undone. Obviously, the Shredder just returned recently, so 5-star comic. This is great. Easily my favorite comic of 2020. What do you guys think? Is this your favorite comic? Is it in your top 5, top 10? Am I completely wrong? Am I a moron for even liking this? Let me know in the comments section. I can't wait to hear from you guys.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.